everyone, I'm here to do another quick update. First of all, don't mind that I have on the same outfit I had on my last video. Just that today falls on the day I decided to wear it again. The last time I wore it was in that last video, so anyway. Some couple of things that was happening since my last update. I had to be hospitalized maybe about 3 days ago. I started having contractions, and I know all about Braxton Hicks and contractions and everything like that, so I really didn't pay them too much mind. And then it got worse to where I literally started tearing up because it was hurting so much. And then I said, I'm gonna go to bed tonight, and if they're still here in the morning, then I'll go to the doctor. So I woke up all through the night I kept having a dull backache and a dull cramping. And then I woke up the next day, it was still there. So I said, alright, I'm going to go get checked out now. So I decided to go to the ER, the hospital, where I'll be delivering at. And when I first got there, they just did all this IV and stuff like that. Hooked me up to the machine for the baby's heart rates and the contractions. And for a while, they wasn't picking them up. I was feeling them, but they wasn't picking them up. Then eventually, when it came time for her to check me, my OB checked me, and I was 1 centimeter dilated and 50% effaced, and this is at 32 weeks and 6 days. And when they looked at the machine, they saw that they started seeing the contractions as well, so they decided to keep me overnight. So I stayed overnight, and soon after that is when the contractions finally stopped, and they didn't start back up again. But they just kept me, and they kept me on the monitors for a little bit, and then they eventually took me off the monitors, and then they only checked the babies like every 20 minutes or so, or something like that, or for 20-minute intervals or whatever like that. So then I went down, the next morning I went down at the same hospital. They took me down to the ultrasound place and get ultrasound. And I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I went down the next day, I had a small ultrasound up while I was in the near the ER for pregnant women or whatever, and baby B was breech. But then when I got my second ultrasound, the next day, that he turned head down. So he's like flipping back and forth. I noticed with a lot of ultrasound, he's either head down or butt down. So he's just constantly moving. So they said when it comes time for me to give birth, if he is breech, because they said when baby A comes down, baby B can be head down, but then once all that room becomes available, he can easily just slip around. So they said once I deliver baby A and if baby B is breech, they could reach in there and turn him for me if I would like that, or they could just give me a C-section. I said, well, of course I would like you to try to turn him before I say a C-section. So their plan is, my doctor and the other doctor that I'll be assisting her, is if he is breech, they'll reach in and turn him around, and if that doesn't work, then I will get a C-section. But yes. No, don't do that. All right, you go out, Lonnie. Come on, come sit down. Close the door. So yeah, that's the plan. But after that ultrasound, he did a transvaginal ultrasound as well to check my cervix, and he showed me that my cervix is opening up. Basically, your cervix is like, I'll compare it to a line, like a straight line, and it's supposed to be closed, and it's just supposed to be a straight line. And then he showed me my cervix, and instead of being a straight line, mine is a Y. It's like the very top of it is open. It's like open like that, like a Y, and the bottom of it is closed. So the Y part of it that's open, he said that's the top of your cervix. That's effacement. That's when I'm becoming effaced. And the bottom part, the bottom of the Y, is the dilation. So at that ultrasound, I wasn't quite dilated yet, but I was at the very bottom of my effacement. So I was like at the very bottom of the line. So I'm already starting to open up, he said. And then he checked it with his hand. He said I'm very soft. He could feel the baby's head. Baby A's head is really, really down low. He's like, when I got my ultrasound, his head was like lodged in my cervix. Alright, in my cervix area already. Say hi, Poopa. Hi. Yeah, so Basically, I'm thinking they can come. Hmm? Okay. Basically, I'm thinking they can come anytime now. I'm always feeling a lot of pressure down below now. Non-stop. I try to stay on my feet now. They put me on bed rest. Alright, Lee, shush. Don't bother the door. They put me on bed rest, 100% bed rest for a week. And they said until I turn 34 weeks, which will be on Friday. Because today I'm 33 weeks and 4 days. Close the door! Today I'm 33 weeks and 4 days. And Friday I'll be 34 weeks. So once I turn 34 weeks, they said I can get up and start moving again, I guess. Because then if I do go into labor, they wouldn't stop it after that. But also while I was in the hospital, they did give me the steroid shot. I think it's called betamethasone or something like that. What's it called? Anyway, it's the steroid shots to mature the baby's lungs. So I got 2 of those. One the night I was admitted, the next day, 25 hours later, I got the second shot. So if they do decide to come early, their lungs will be mature, hopefully. And I'm having a lot of heartburn lately. Non-stop. Shush, Monty. A lot of non-stop heartburn. Like anything I drink or eat, it just feels like it's just all sitting up here on top of my chest. So that's another thing that's becoming uncomfortable. The twins feel like they're growing every day. They're really big. On ultrasound, they told me baby A is 4 pounds, 4 pounds 7 ounces, and baby B is 5 pounds 3 ounces. So they were surprised. They were surprised. They said they're big for twins at that age. I mean at that stage. So I'm guessing they're gonna be some good sizes when they're all born. Let me show you my stomach real quick. I feel very, very low now. I don't know if I'm getting bigger from my last thing. And baby A is all the way down here. Baby A is all the way down here, and baby B is like, his head is a little bit up here. But yeah, so basically I've been trying to stop playing with the door. I'm trying to take it easy. All I've been doing is just resting, watching TV, and cooking dinner and stuff like that. So I've had like little small Braxton Hicks since then, but nothing like that. Those 2 days I had it before. So hopefully they stay until they full term, which is 36 weeks. So I have like 3 more weeks to go. But that is it for now. I will see you guys later.